Hey guys! So yes, it is true, I tried 14 horses in the process of looking for Griffin, and I thought it might be fun to look at all the horses I rode. I hope you enjoyed this video because there was like an hour and a half worth of footage I had to go through to make it, but I did it for you guys. So I want to give a quick disclaimer. I do not know whether these horses are still for sale or not, and I will not be using their names for privacy reasons, so please respect the privacy of these horses and their owners when engaging with this video. It is important to note that Griffin, the horse I ended up with, was the only horse I vet checked, so the reasons I passed on the rest of these horses had nothing to do with soundness. These horses are all talented and beautiful, but they were just not the right fit for me for one reason or another. So, for reference, this is what I was looking for in a horse. I wanted a jumper that could dabble in the equitation, basically just a jumper that isn't too hot, something tall, preferably around 17 hands, because that's the height of my other horse, and I might not look very tall, but I'm 5'6", and I feel like I look taller on a horse, especially since I'm so used to riding my other big horse. I'm planning to keep this horse for its whole life, so I want something on the younger side, ideally between 6 to 9, no older than 10. I don't care about gender, gelding or a mare would be fine. Not green because I'm looking for something to help with my confidence in the show ring, so ideally something that has a little bit more experience, but not a schoolmaster. I'm okay with something that needs a little polishing in their training. The biggest thing is no stop, because basically the whole reason I'm buying another horse, if you haven't been watching my other videos, was because my other horse is a stopper and it really rattled my confidence throughout my junior career, and I just really want a new experience. So, no stop. And with all that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so this was the first horse I tried. He was really cute. I do think he was a little shorter than I wanted, maybe like 16'1", so I didn't love that. And he's kind of taking maybe some questionable steps there, but could be no big deal. Again, didn't vet him, wouldn't know. But he also took a lot of leg, and to his credit, it was really hot this day, but I was not really looking for a horse that was going to be a major kick ride, and that was kind of the vibe I was getting from him. In a lot of these videos, you might notice, especially when I start jumping, that I'm kind of riding more timidly, and it was because I do get a little bit nervous riding other people's horses in front of them and like trainers I don't know. So my trainers do have to keep reminding me that it's actually a good thing if I make mistakes, because I'm not going to buy a horse and then never make mistakes on it. So it's good to see how each horse you're trying handles your mistakes. So I had to keep reminding myself of that. And this horse definitely handled my mistakes really well. I got a few like really questionable distances. He never stopped. He just covered up for my mistake, and I really like to see that. Um, they were also asking for a little bit outside of my budget for him, and me and my trainer just kind of thought we could find nicer for less. So ultimately, we decided he wouldn't be a good fit, but he was a really cute horse and really fun to ride. Just not the horse for me. I also want to say he might have been like 11, which was a little older than I would have wanted. But again, really cute horse. You can see right there, he's covering for my mistakes, but just not my perfect horse. Okay, so this next horse was actually on the same day at another barn, like down the street. And I believe the story with this horse was his owner was going off to college and they'd been showing in the 3336, and she was just looking for a new home for him when she went to college. He was like pretty comfortable to ride, but he really didn't want to get into a frame. He really wanted to go around with his head in the air like a giraffe. And I'm not like really overriding these horses the way I'm just trying to get a feel for them. So that's kind of why maybe I look like more of a passenger at times. Also, this horse had already been tried by another girl before me, so he was kind of tired and a little bit lazy, so I might not have gotten the full experience. But his changes were a little sticky, not a super big issue, and I definitely could be putting on more leg. I'm also kind of a wimp in the heat, even though I've lived in Southern California my whole life. But like I said before, I'm a little timid riding these horses that I don't really know. So he stopped at this jump, and to me, again, like I said, no stopper. It was probably my fault, but at the same time, this horse is so big and that jump was so small that he could have easily stepped over it and covered for my mistake if he wanted to, which, again, he shouldn't be expected to do that every time, especially with someone he doesn't know. But see, in that video, he stopped from like a stride away. So I really was not feeling that. And again, like I said, he had already been ridden by another girl, but he kept stopping, and it just, again, probably my fault, but not what I was looking for. Okay, so here we have horse number 3. He was also at the same barn, so I got on him right after, and I was kind of dead at this point from riding all these horses, but he was really cute because it was really hot, okay? I swear I can ride multiple horses in a day, but it was just really hot this day. Anyway, he was really cute. I definitely liked him the best out of the 3 this day, and looking back on these videos, he's kind of giving more of a huntery vibe than I want in a horse. But he was really cute. He was fun to ride. They had videos of him schooling up to like 1.30 m, so that was intriguing. There he is, covering for my mistake. So we did end up bringing him on trial, and here's Memo lunging him so I can see how he moves, and kind of funky, honestly, but he was cute, and he was really sweet getting off the trailer. But my trainer is really particular, and she hadn't ridden him until this day, and she got on him, and she was like, no, like, this, you don't want this horse. Nothing really against him. We just weren't really a big fan of the way he felt, and I think in that moment that day, I liked him the best out of the 3, so by comparison, I really liked him. But then getting on him again and, like, watching him jump around, he just wasn't exactly what I was looking for. But I did really like him. I did think he was a cute horse. And I should also mention that I have 2 trainers because I'm a college student. So this is my trainer, like, from home that I've had since high school. And then I have a different trainer when I'm at in college. So after these videos, you'll see me riding with my other trainer at a different barn. But yeah, we ended up sending him back. And again, cute, just not my dream. Oh, and I forgot to mention the breeds of the horses so far, but pretty much every horse in this video is some type of warm blood, so. Okay, so at this point, all the rest of the horses I tried are with my other trainer in college. So this was the first horse I tried with her, and this is not me riding in this clip. I just didn't have very many clips of him, or me riding him, so I thought I'd put this in, but this is the assistant trainer riding him, and he was huge. He was like 17.2, 17.3. He was cute, but he was like super spooky, super on edge. He stopped with her once at this tiny little oxer for kind of no good reason. So me and my trainer were like, this doesn't seem like the right fit. And I think he had recently been imported, and he was with like Elise. I don't really know the full story, but he just kind of wasn't the right fit for a lot of reasons. But I did get on him and trot him around, and you can see he's just very tense, but he was a cute guy. And then they also had me sit on another horse, which I didn't get video of, but I'm not really sure why they did, because he was 14, and me and my trainer were like, yeah, that's not what we're looking for, but they just wanted me to try him anyway, just in case, so I did. And then this horse in the video is the 3rd horse that I rode there, and I actually really liked him a lot. He was really cute. I think he'd done hunters, jumpers, equitation. I'm not riding the best in this, because I was already tired. He was like the 3rd one, but also, I don't know why. I'm just not. And I think maybe I jumped him up to like 3 foot, 3'3", nothing crazy, but he was just super sweet. Like, he could take a joke. I got some bad distances. He covered it up, which was like awesome to see. And he was really fun to ride, really smooth. I didn't have like a moment of like, I need this horse, I have to have him. But sometimes that's just not how it goes off the bat. So me and my trainer were like, we should definitely come back and ride him again to get another feel for him. I think he was about 10, so kind of at the top of my age range. But I did really like him. And yeah, so that was the 6th horse that I rode. So the next 6 horses that I tried were all in one day. I know, crazy. And it was like 100 degrees. Me and my trainer drove up to Sacramento for the SAC International Horse Show, where I tried 6 horses, and I have never really tried horses in a horse show environment before, but it's a very different experience because things move a lot faster. They want you to make decisions then and there, which is stressful, but this is the first horse I tried. He was so cute. I really loved him. He was definitely more of a jumper type, but they said, you know, you could try him in equitation. He was 11, so that was a bit, you know, not ideal, but he was really cute. Like, his trot is so cute. I'm just trotting him around, and you'll see most of these videos of me riding these next horses are in warm-up rings, because like that's where we had to go, which definitely added an element of chaos to the situation, but it was a good experience to kind of see like what the horses would be like in a show environment, because obviously I would be showing them, so that was cool to experience. And he was just really cute. He was pretty smooth to canter and trot, and like all his gaits I really liked, and I jumped him around a little bit. Like I said, I didn't really have the option to course any of these horses because we were in warm up rings, but I still got a feel for their jump and stuff. And after I rode him, I did get to see one of the trainers who worked with him showing him, which was like another cool experience. And you can see in these jumps, I am getting jumped out of the tack a lot because he definitely had like a super round, springy jump, which I'm not really used to because my horse, who I've been mostly only riding for the past few years, has a really flat equitation style jump. So this was new to me, but I started getting the hang of it by the end, and I definitely really liked him a lot. The main thing that was giving me pause about him was definitely his age, but definitely liked him a lot. It was a strong start to the day of trials, so he was really cute. Okay, so then the next horse I tried was from the same owners, and he is obviously stunning. I think he was completely black, which you don't see too often, and I think the first thing my trainer said when they brought him out was like, don't get distracted by the color, because yeah, he was beautiful. But it was kind of another one of those situations where I was like, I'm not really sure why you're showing me this horse, because one, he was like way out of my budget, and they kind of didn't seem too concerned about that, which made me think they were having a hard time selling him at the listed price. And they also kind of wanted to see him turn into a hunter. I think that that's what they had been showing him in. So that was a little confusing as well, but they said, oh, he would make a good jumper. So I sat on him. And they also were kind of hinting that he needed a lot of prep in a weird way. And so there was just a lot of elements that me and my trainer were kind of like, this probably isn't going to be right. But he was really comfortable from what I remember. Sweet horse. I don't know if he had shown yet, but he did seem like a little bit spooky at times around the ring, even after all this prep he'd apparently had. So, like, not that I would really ever want a horse that's just lifeless and doesn't react to things, but just like, I'm sure you guys can kind of understand what I'm trying to say. It seemed like they were suppressing maybe he had some holes in his training, basically. But he was really cute. There aren't really many videos of me jumping him because the more I jumped him, he kind of got more and more worked up, and I probably wasn't going to be able to afford him anyway, but it was fun to ride him. So for this next horse, me and my trainer drove to a barn that was only like half a mile down the road from the showground, so it was basically still at the show, and he was really cute. I think he was around 16'1", 16'2", so a little on the shorter side. But this shopping experience was so funny. Me and my trainer still laugh about it. It was almost like the trainer just didn't want to sell him. And apparently at the time her daughter had been showing him, so that could have been the reason. But she kept saying things like, I don't think he would be good for the equitation. He would need a lot of prep. Like, he's really hot. And guys, look at this horse. Like, is this not like the equitation horse if you've ever seen one? Like, this is not screaming jumper to me, and maybe he lights up at the show, but I just thought that was funny. But I really, really liked this horse. He was so comfortable to ride and really, really fun to jump. I did appreciate, though, the trainer being super honest, because I do think a lot of times trainers just say what they think you want to hear, and she did say that she thought that he was most comfortable at a meter, maybe meter 10, and he probably couldn't do much past that, and I'm definitely looking for something that can comfortably do the meter 20 for sure. So we passed on him for that reason, but this was one of my favorite horses that I rode. If he was a little taller and could jump a little higher, I definitely would have wanted to see more. Okay, so then we went back to the show to try this next horse, and these videos do not do him justice. He was huge. He was like 18 hands for sure, and these videos aren't as bad as I remember it being, but I genuinely, like, could not ride this horse. And it's probably something I could have gotten used to, but I was just not capable of navigating how big he was. And, like, on the flat, it doesn't look too bad, but jumping, like, I just had no idea where I was, and I just kept pulling to nothing because his stride was so big. I felt like we were going so much faster than we were. And I remember getting off and being like, yeah, I want to try him again. And my trainer was like, really? And then thinking about it, I was like, yeah, this probably isn't going to be the best fit for me, but I just really wanted to love him because he was so big and so cute. Okay, so now we're down to the final two horses of the day, and these horses were actually found by the same trainer that had the second and third horse I rode in this video, who happened to be up at this show, so that was kind of like a funny coincidence. And she was like, "Now I know what you like, now I know what to find you." So, first, she had me ride this mare, and this was the only mare I ended up trying, not for any particular reason, but she was really cute. I think she was pretty young, I think she was like 6, and she was definitely smaller. She was like probably 16'1", so not ideal, but she was super comfortable and I actually loved riding her. Um, it's kind of hard to tell because we weren't really coursing, but just jumping these singles, she was definitely like a hotter jumper, like more just what you think of when you think of a hotter jumper. And my trainer thought that that might not be the best fit for me in terms of like my confidence and what I'm kind of looking for. But she was a super cute, fun ride. And then the last horse I tried was my favorite of the day. He was about 8 and he had already showed today, so he was like a little lazier, which you might notice throughout the videos. And he had this like flaxen mane and tail. Like, I just loved him. He was so pretty, very comfortable. Looking back now, probably less jumpery than I would have wanted, but he had shown up to like the meter 30 and they had videos and he looked cute. So I was into it, but the problem that I had here was they kind of wanted me to basically make a decision within the next few days. Like, I could do a vet check, but then I'd no trial, no more rides. I'd have to just be like, yep, I want this horse, and I just couldn't pull the trigger there. Like, I wasn't so sure about him that I knew that's what I wanted to do. And it was very conflicting, but me and my trainer ultimately decided to pass for that reason. So at this point, I'm obviously feeling kind of defeated because I've ridden like 9 horses and none of them are working for me. And my trainer was like, I think the horse show trying environment is not going to be the right place for us because they want you to make decisions so quickly. Because part of the reason that other horse, they wanted him gone so quickly was because whoever had catch rode him that day was like next in line to buy him. So things were just moving faster. And my trainer had a friend who was about an hour away that had this jumper, and she was like, why don't we go try him? Like, I feel like he could be cute. And you guys, I sat on him, and I was like, that's it, I'm done, I'm obsessed. Maybe not fully like that 100%, but I was like, okay, I haven't felt this excited about any of the horses I've ridden yet. He was like the perfect mix of jumpery and equitation. He was 17 hands, had a big stride, covered my mistakes. Really cute personality, beautiful horse, obviously. And my trainer was like, this is the first time I've seen you just smiling after riding these horses. And I was pretty much, I didn't want to get my hopes up, obviously, because that's how it goes. But I was pretty much sure that this was the horse I wanted. And I feel like we just really connected off the bat. And then they still had me sit on this other horse who was also really cute, just a bit greener, I think 5 or 6, and he had just started showing, recently imported. I don't think they'd shown him very high yet, but he had a lot of potential, and he was also really comfortable and fun to ride, and also very beautiful, but I just ultimately decided that I wanted something with a little bit more experience, as I've mentioned before in this video, but he was a super fun ride. And then I jumped him around a little bit. If I was looking for a project, I definitely would have been super into this horse because he was so cute. So at this point, even though I was feeling really good about number 12, the horse before this, his name was Finn, and my trainer and I had already made plans to go back and try horse number 6, I believe, if you remember, because I did really like him and wanted to sit on him again. And it was right near this barn, so here I am riding him again. I coursed him around a little bit higher this time, and I really liked him. And then my trainer and I kind of talked about everything. They were the exact same price, except Finn was 8, or is 8, and this horse is 10. And that was honestly, like, the main difference. Obviously, they're different animals and, like, have differences in the way that they feel and the way that they ride. But in terms of like just looking at the stats, they were both similar in height. They would have let me do a lease. My parents really wanted me to do a lease to buy option, because that's what I did with my first horse, and then that kind of just gives us like an extended trial in a way. They would have let us do a lease on this horse, but Finn, they were not going to let us do a lease, and they were not going to let us do a trial, which normally wouldn't be ideal, and there can be red flags when people ask for that, but also obviously letting your horse go on trial is a risk in itself, so I understand why people do that. The only reason this wasn't like a big red flag to us was because my trainer was like childhood friends with the trainer of Finn, so she really trusted her and she knew a lot about her program, and she didn't think we were going to be scammed in any way. So after thinking about it and weighing the pros and cons of each of these horses, I decided that I wanted to pursue Finn, who is now known as Griffin, and I went back and I took 2 different lessons on 2 different days on him with his trainer, just as a sort of trial period since I wasn't able to bring him to my barn. And it went really well. We just really clicked. I really liked the way he felt, jumping him around. He made me feel confident to the jumps, which is something that I struggle with on my own horse, Czar, because just you can watch my video on why. But he was just really fun, and we planned to do a vet check on him and like revisit the other horse maybe if it didn't work out, but thankfully he passed the vet check. And if you want me to make a video on that, or if you have questions about the vetting process, or if you're going through this yourself, let me know and I can. But yep, he was the winner. He passed the vet check super well, and I've had him for about 7 months now, and I love him. I'm obsessed with him. We did buy him immediately. We weren't able to do the lease to buy like I said, but it worked out, and I'm super happy with him. And yeah, that's really it. My trainer and I joked that we kind of manifested him for me, because when she was trying to like get a feel for what type of horse I was looking for, she compared my interests to my friend Mangala's horse, Finn, at the barn, and she was like, you just need a Finn that's like a hand taller. And if you've seen my other videos, you've seen Finn. He's like a bay, similar coloring, and basically we found Finn a hand taller, so I just thought that that was like kind of crazy and like kind of a funny sign to me, that I found the right one, because his name was literally Finn, and he was a similar horse. And obviously, because we have that Finn in the barn, that's why I changed his name to Griffin, because his show name is Gryffindor de Buthon. So it kind of fit him, and I think it fits him really well. And yeah, so I'm super happy with him. Subscribe to my channel to see more of him and my other horse. We're going to a show in like a month, or in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for those vlogs. Thanks for watching.